Hello and welcome to this very special Patreon exclusive episode of Hey, I loved this thing that I had when I grew up and I wanted to make my friends listen to it too. With me, Helena.
Me, Michael.
And I'm also here, Dan.
Hey, Helena. The fuck?
Yeah, what did you make us watch this? Make us
No.
listen to / watch.
The correct form. The fuck?
So this is another one of the tapes. We did a few. We did 3, I think, last year. But I did say at the time, that the Little Match Girl was not the saddest story tape I had as a kid.
Which is a surprise because it's about a small child who dies because she can't light a fire because she's too cold.
Yeah.
And she
It's a girl, she can't sell any matches and she's not allowed to go home, so she freezes to death in the streets at
Exactly,
Christmas.
everyone's too busy at the state funeral.
So, I feel like this has a similar vibe. I don't know, it's a little bit more intense. So this is the story of the brave tin soldier.
I would still count the matchstick girl, as more intense than this.
Okay.
I think for personal, real tragedy, not.
Yeah. No, I felt literally no empathy for the Tin Man.
Yeah, so it's about little tin soldier, who's the last one to be made out of a mold. So he's only got one leg, and he goes on a bit of a horrible adventure. It's basically kind of like the story of Toy Story, but they die at the end.
Yeah, like Toy Story 3 if you cut it off too soon.
Oh god, yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
So talk me through your emotional experiences of this.
Well, my first thought was, wow, that kid is way too excited about tin soldiers. Clearly, he's never heard of the Nintendo 64. And I also thought that he's fucking creepy because all he does is stare at a paper ballerina all day. And also, that Jack in the Box is haunted as fuck.
Yes, and I thought that right from the start. I was like, because I haven't listened to this since I was a very, very young kid, and I couldn't remember the plot at all, apart from I knew that it ends in tragedy. As soon as I saw that Jack in the Box, I knew straight away he was evil.
Although, I don't know, I the Jack in the Box to begin with, it was kind of just like, the Jack in the Box has no problems here. The Tin Man is just staring at things.
Yeah, well, he's supposed to be too shy.
Yeah, it doesn't come across that way.
Yeah, it's just a bit creepy, isn't it?
It is really creepy, especially
and he fancies her because she's a ballerina in a ballet pose. So he's like, oh shit, she only has one leg too. That's the wife for me, and he's decided that he's going to marry her, but he's not. He's also got a bit
hasn't
of
interacted with her.
Yeah, hasn't actually spoken to her. Never does actually speak to her, and also is like, oh, she's too grand for me.
Yeah, he never speaks at all because he's in uniform and it's not proper. You're not allowed to talk in uniform, maggot.
You're not allowed to speak whilst... Yeah.
You're too busy standing there still while the Queen's coffin goes past.
Not the only bit of classism in this film.
Of course not. No, the maid that cleans up after them, of course.
Yeah, so we should go through the actual story because it is fucked throughout.
Yeah.
It is.
So yeah, he starts by getting a toy maker has made a load of tin soldiers out of a big spoon.
Yeah, must have been a bloody big spoon.
Yeah.
Weird detail. Because it was a big spoon. It's not a load of big spoons.
Yeah.
It is one single big spoon. And then, man buys it, goes, oh, my child would love this. And he's correct.
Yeah.
The child is boring enough to love tin soldiers.
Exactly. He's from an upper class family. He must be.
Yeah. Apart from one of them doesn't have a leg, and he's like, this is my favourite one. Right?
Yeah, well, I think he likes the fact that even though he's only got one leg, he still stands up straight.
Which is weird. And then it turns out all of the toys come alive at night, a la Nightmare, Night at the Museum.
No, Small Soldiers.
Yeah, or Toy Story.
Or Toy Story. There's a lot of creatures coming alive at night. And then, he's kind of just staring at the ballerina and what's going on around him. And the canaries in on it.
Yeah, it was weird that the canaries, they were like, they woke up the canary, so the canary joined in, and it's like, okay.
Didn't wake up the kid, though. Kid must be out of it. It's because his bed's so far away on the other side of the room.
I mean, the kid's out of it for other reasons. He's probably been told to go to sleep by the definite ghost that haunts his toys.
Yeah. The Jack in the Box is like, fucking go to sleep or I'll slit your throat, cunt.
Your mother and father will go in the fire.
I'll push you out the fucking window.
So yeah, and then the Jack in the Box pops up, and the Jack in the Box, as far as I can tell, just gets annoyed because the Tin Man is staring at him.
Not at him, at the ballerina.
Which is fair.
It's like, yeah, keep your eyes to yourself, mate.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you are being a bit leery at this point, but it's clear it's not because he's defending the ballerina, it's because he fancies her himself. I think. That was my interpretation of it.
Yeah. And then everyone goes back to quiet before morning. And for some reason, the Tin Man is put on a windowsill for story reasons.
Yes, because the kid wants him to look in the garden.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things like, oh, he's just on the windowsill. None of the other toys are.
No. It's because the Jack in the Box told the boy to put...
Well, clearly, actually, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
He could have told the boy to throw the kid out, throw the sword out.
He's subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As subtle as a talking Jack in the Box can be.
Yeah. Which, like, the kid is afraid of that Jack in the Box as well, so he has definitely...
I'm afraid of the Jack in the Box.
Yeah, it's awful.
He's made some very specific threats if the boy is like, oh no.
So he falls out and they can't find him, and he ends up being picked up by some in the garden. Somehow, some street urchins get into the garden.
Yeah,
or is it like, does it rain and like he gets washed away or something, and then some paupers?
It rains and then the homeless make a little like boat for the tin soldier that they find in the garden.
The poor children.
And then the narrator at this bit just keeps on emphasising how terrifying it is. That's all he says terrifying about 20 times, just talking about the various like drains and gutters that this boat. It's very he's Stephen King taken kind of vibe.
Yeah. And like, so these must have been on like an actual cassette tape, and when they've been ported to YouTube, like the audio quality is not amazing, so it just sounds even more scary. Yeah,
it is kind of mumbled, isn't it? Mumbled and fuzzy.
There's two versions on YouTube. There's one that is like. There's another one that's a lot clearer, that's a lot quieter.
Oh, okay.
So you either have to listen to Nightmare Echo Chamber or
creepy
an old
ASMR
man telling you a story from across the room. Those are the options. But yeah, they make him a boat out of paper.
And they float him down a gutter.
Down the drain.
Yeah. And then for some reason a rat's like, "Where's your passport?" Like,
that really took me by surprise. I was like, "What? Okay, why is there a rat? Why is the rat wearing like a clown costume?"
And it's specifically described as a water rat as well.
Yeah, it's a water rat, which isn't a thing. Water rats aren't real. And also, what is this a metaphor for?
Yeah, I don't understand. Why is there... Yeah, because it's like, okay, it'd be one thing if he was like, oh, get out of it. But it's not. No, it's, I want your passport. Show me your passport.
Is it about how the government treats our soldiers?
Yeah.
He's an injured soldier coming back from war, and the rat is demanding that he show his passport, even though he's forged for the... I don't know.
Is this like a metaphor for the... Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like... What does this mean?
Maybe the rat would have saved him from falling in the horrifying drain if he had a passport.
But why would he have a passport when he's a toy soldier? And why would he want it when he's a rat?
And why would he need it to get into the drain?
And it's not like this is anything that's like established before. It just comes out of absolutely nowhere.
No. And it also implies that it shows you that the rat can talk to toys.
Yes, and that there's this weird sort of civilized... rat community that, including immigration.
Why?
And why would he need a passport if he's going seemingly from one gutter to another gutter? Like, it's not. I was thinking, he's not in Europe and he's just crossed a border. What border?
Right?
They just needed something scary for the rat to say. And they were like, "Ooh,
you need a passport." There's nothing scarier than immigration.
Yes, it's terrifying when you're on holiday and you're feeling your pockets because you can't find your passport.
I feel like this would have made me weirdly scared of not having my passport as a kid going on holiday.
Yeah, and then he goes past the rat, and the rat is still chasing him after the passport.
Yeah, and but this is where the tin soldier starts to get a bit weird because he is essentially mute.
Yeah,
he doesn't say anything ever. He just thinks. but it's like, oh, he doesn't say anything, and it's like, okay, I understand when like the kid's about or when there are humans about,
Yeah.
but why is there a rule that, you know, he sort of seemingly, it feels like that Toy Story rule where he can't talk because it's not proper.
Yeah.
But then the rat can wear trousers and shout at him. Seems
About a passport.
yeah. It's like, well, at that point, surely you can respond to the rat.
He can't talk because he is
Yeah.
in uniform and it is improper.
Yeah.
It's like pretty much his exact kind
Yeah,
of
it's a bit of a
mindset.
sort of learned helplessness complex
Yeah.
that he's got.
Yeah. So he goes into the
He
drain.
goes into the drain. Turn over to side 2.
Yes. Oh yeah, just in case you forgot, these are cassette
Indeed.
tapes.
Yeah.
So after 10 minutes, you must turn over to side 2.
and then he's in the drain.
He's in
And
the
then, oh
drain.
my god, the next page. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Which one? Oh, yeah.
The fish.
Yeah, the giant
Yes,
thing that looks like a
the
barracuda or something that eats
Yeah.
him. And even
Oh, yeah,
in death,
fish Dan.
all he can
Right.
think about is fucking that paper ballerina.
In a drain as well.
Yeah, he's in a drain.
Like he's not like in the ocean or whatever. He's in a
I
drain.
think he falls into a canal or something. And
And the narrator at this
That-
point is really emphasizing like how scary it is, and he keeps saying, "Well, this canal is like you being lost in the entire ocean on your own." And it's like
that
the
fish is not okay to eat.
yeah, and like the narrator just really, really wants you to be scared, and like
Well, yeah,
And
because it
considering
hasn't
this
set
is
up
a-
anything for you to actually be scared
isn't
about.
this meant to be a bedtime story?
yeah,
as
this is a
well?
bedtime story. These are what I used to listen to
I'm-
before I went to sleep.
And then did
I'm
you have
trying to work out what
horrifying
the-
nightmares of being eaten by a giant fish while you're alone in the ocean?
Nah,
I'm trying to
nah,
work
I
out
wasn't
what-
scared of the fish by the end of this.
I'm trying to work out what the fuck the story's about. Like, what's the lesson?
If you don't say anything or do anything and just let things happen to you, you end up dead. I think.
But it's okay because you were in love with a paper ballerina who.
It's alright if your
so,
if your girlfriend dies too.
So he goes into a fish. Fish gets caught, obviously.
Yeah, like after a while, he
Uh.
just suddenly sees light and he's like, "What the fuck?" And someone's
It's
Gutted
it's, like,
the
really
fish and
long
found the tin
convoluted.
soldier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
like
the fish.
the fish got fished out and was sent to market and was bought from the market, and then as it was cut open by the chef, he was suddenly let out.
Yeah, they
Like,
forgot how
yeah,
to do
it is.
full stops
Yeah.
for a bit in
It's
this
the
story.
same house.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the house with the kid that enjoys toy soldiers.
So the servant is like, "Hey, look what I found," and he's like, "Yay!"
Yay! I've cleaned it thoroughly.
Yeah, here's the
He's only a bit
soldier that
fishy.
smells like fucking awful rotting fish that's now staring at a paper ballerina once more.
Yeah.
And at this point, I was like, "Oh, nice, he's back.
He's back.
He sees the ballerina again. That's quite nice.
Is it
That's
again?
the
again,
end. There we go. No,
Reminder that the ballerina hasn't interacted with him.
No, she's not even like
At
looked
all.
at him.
No, she looks at him because she can't look anywhere else.
yeah, she's made of paper.
She's
So
frozen
we
in
get
time.
to the scariest part of the story.
Yeah, this is where we.
And it
learn
really comes
that-
out of left field, really, because so far he
Jack
said,
in the
"Oh,
Box.
he said a couple of times, oh, I bet it was that Jack in the Box that like pushed me off the window in the first place, and it's kind of all his fault." But you don't really, it's one of those things where it even says like, "Oh, it could have been a breeze, it could have been the Jack in the Box."
Up until this point, it feels like the Jack in the Box is being framed.
Yeah,
It's like the Jack in the Box. Maybe it was the wind. Maybe it was the Jack in
Maybe
the
it
Box.
was,
Leave the
and-
Jack in the Box alone.
And maybe now he's home and
turns
happy
out.
with the ballerina. Maybe he'll become friends with the Jack in the Box, and then the story will end nicely. No, throw him in the fire, little shit.
the Jack
Do
in the
it.
Box whispers into the kid's ear to kill the kid, to throw the tin soldier into the fire.
Yeah, the Jack in the Box is a
Yeah.
Tory. He's like, it's disabled. Burn it.
He's disabled
kid
disabled.
does.
Get rid of him.
Yeah, the kid's
Because the
like,
kid
Yeah.
is terrified of the Jack in the Box.
Yeah, because assumedly the Jack in the Box has threatened to kill his entire
Yes.
family.
Exactly. Like
I
this
would
is
definitely
like
do whatever a
Annabelle.
talking Jack in the... Yeah.
It's fucked.
Like
And
there's
then, yeah,
there's
so-
some demon in that Jack in the Box, right?
Well, there's a
Absolutely.
demon in all of them. They're all haunted.
Yeah. It's a big rich house, of course they are.
And then
Oh,
we
yeah,
have
the
the
kid-
same kind of weird, whimsical death that we had with the not the Brave Tin Girl, the what's it called, the little
Brave-
The little
Brave
match
Tin
girl.
Girl.
the
Yeah.
little match girl,
The
where
brave
it's kind of
little
like,
tin
oh,
man.
No, this is the complete opposite because
Oh.
he burns to death, whereas
He's
she
dying
couldn't
happy.
even light a match.
she got cold to death.
Yeah.
Froze to death.
That's what it's called.
But yeah, it's weirdly like whimsical and happy.
It's like, and it couldn't tell if it was the flame of like what passion for love for the ballerina or the flames of the oven that were hot, and it's like, I'm pretty sure it's the oven, mate. I think,
maybe it's the
no
actual
offense,
fire.
maybe it's the fire.
Yeah.
And then
And then
nobody knew
breeze.
whether the colour of his uniform had faded because of the heat or because he was so sad.
No, it's definitely the heat.
It was the.
And then just
Pretty
when you
much
think the
nobody
story
was
can't get
sad.
any more weird and or tragic, there's a gust of wind
Yeah.
and the paper ballerinas flung into the fire too.
Yeah.
But
and
they're
then
in love and they're next to each other and they burn
Again.
to death in love.
Yeah.
Again, she hasn't reacted or interacted with him in any other way.
No, and now she dies.
And now she's dead. She's burnt to death. Do you reckon when the the boy, put the soldier in the fire, do you reckon the parents were like, "Why are you doing that to Jiminy?" And he's like, "Well, the Jack in the Box said so."
Yeah, I think at that
That
point
kid's
I'd
going
throw
to
away the
therapy.
Jack in the Box and maybe the child.
Yeah, the kid's going to therapy. Ah, no, at that point therapy wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Just
The dad starts drinking more. Because now he knows his son's probably his son's not possessed, he's just under the influence of a demonic spirit that has possessed his toy.
yeah.
But neither are ideal.
No, neither are perfect. Maybe it's like the amount of cocaine the child was given.
Or maybe it's not tin and it's actually he's got mercury poisoning.
Mercury or lead.
Yeah.
Tin, quote unquote, tin. Oh, wow, it might actually be lead poisoning.
Maybe because it
'Cause
was
this
in the
was around
fish
that
for a
time.
while, and then they did
Yeah.
take it out of the fish to
The whole
cook the fish and eat
families.
the fish.
The whole family's got lead poisoning.
The Jack in the Box isn't alive at
wow.
all. The kid's just
No,
gone mad.
it's just the kid. Just the child surrounded by lead-based toys and lead paint. Oh my god, this story has a completely different... So anyway, the two main characters burn to death. The tin soldier that's too afraid to talk, and the helpless,
Yeah.
forced around.
Helpless paper
Ballerina.
ballerina.
Yeah, and then they come down the next morning, and the Tin Man melted into the shape of a heart.
Which the maid
her-
finds, don't
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah, and probably immediately threw away.
Yeah.
Throw away. And the rose that had been blackened by the fire.
Yeah, even
It's
though the
real
picture in the
weird.
book is still red.
Yeah.
Yeah, that threw me off. 'Cause it's like, why is the heart red and why is the rose? But then I was like, that's not the weirdest thing about this book.
The heart is red because it's still burning hot.
She picks it up and she's like, ah, fuck.
Ow, ow. And then the story ends like it's a nice happy ending, forgetting that the Jack in the Box is still at large.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, but it's like it ends like that's the last toy that's going to be murdered. It's
Yeah,
not.
It's like the theme of these story things, like all the ones that so far is that love shall prevail and love is the most important thing, and it doesn't matter if there's a scary Jack in the Box or if a little girl dies in the cold.
But love didn't win. They both died.
Yeah, the Jack in the Box
Like,
won,
love- the
but
Jack in
even
the
the
Box
Jack
is
in the
the one
Box
that
lost
won.
because he fancied the ballerina and she dies. So what does he
That-
gain out of
that-
it except pout?
That's never stated though. That's just implied.
Well, the way he says "keep your eyes to yourself" when he's looking at her.
Yeah.
I think
it's
there's
just a-
only one other solution, and that's that the author has lead poisoning.
What is the moral story of this one?
Yeah, that's what I was
Like-
trying to work out because it's not a good lesson, and it's a Hans Christian
it?
Andersen story, I think. So what was
They're
he?
meant to have lessons,
Yeah.
right? It's anti-immigration to begin with. First of all, anti-immigration. Or is it anti-immigration laws? Is it pro-immigration? Because the big scary thing is asking for passports. It's not an It crossover.
No, he's
What
not
is the
taken
moral
by
of
a
the
giant
show?
clown.
I mean,
It's
oh,
definitely-
okay.
Helena, do you remember how this made you feel as a kid? That might give
Sad.
us some sort
It
of
made me
clue.
feel really sad as a kid, and I didn't actually listen to this one very often because even as a kid, I was like, "Fuck me, that's it." Well, probably not quite like that, but I was like, "Blimey neck, this is a bit sad."
God blimey! God blimey, Mum! This one's made me kind of sad.
Oh no!
This one's put a tear to me little eye.
Well,
I'm not going to be able to sleep now unless I've got all my porcelain dolls with me.
I do think it really. I did make me scared of Jack in the Boxes. I'd always, but it's like now I don't know. Is that when I got scared, or is it just like literally any other like horror movie?
Is that
Like what made
when
me
you-
scared of Jack in the Box is because I really believe it could have been this.
Is that when you got all of the porcelain dolls for protection? Like, I know Jack in the Box can go over the power of the evil porcelain doll.
I think only
By the way, I swear-
one of my China dolls is like definitely
Yeah,
possessed.
only the one.
Then that's the one that's sort of in that permanent crawling position.
100% that one was possessed.
Yeah, that's the one
I
that
swear
crawled across
last-
the ceiling towards you, right?
Yeah.
I swear last time we did this as well, we also gave you the little the Cockney child's voice.
I don't know why.
We did.
It's the only voice I can
stuck
do.
around. That's you as a child, by the way. It's oh blimey, Mum.
The thing is, as a child, I
little toy man.
had a really posh voice.
The little toy man got melted into a heart.
Oh,
Can't
mother.
sleep after.
I'm
Mother,
afraid
this
the
is
toy
really
man has been
upsetting.
melted. I must simply go
The
to
shape
sleep
of a
now to
heart.
forget how sad I am.
I need to
Mother, I don't
I need to
believe
watch
I
the
can
Black
sleep.
Cauldron to feel better.
Mother,
They both
help! The
died,
Jack in the
Mother.
Box is after me again.
Told me to murder you.
I think we had a Jack in the Box toy when I was a kid. God, I hope that's been thrown
Did it-
away.
Yeah, they're
Did
literally
it tell
just
you?
jump scare machines for children. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, true. Maybe that's why, kids find horror films so scary these days, is they don't have Jack in the Boxes anymore to...
They did. They did. Yeah, they weren't scared enough as a child by Jack in the Box.
They weren't traumatised by genuinely sad and upsetting stories.
They never learnt. They never.
This
learnt
wasn't
that-
exactly going to be an episode of Bluey, is it?
or Paw Patrol.
No.
Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol, but one of the dogs that only
Looks
has
good.
one leg and it falls
And
in
it
a drain.
And then it gets killed at the end in an oven.
Yeah.
The little kid is like, I've got to put you in the oven.
I'm sorry, the Jack in the Box told me to. I don't know the names of any of the Paw Patrol dogs, but it...
Oh,
I think it's okay for us as late 20s
Adults to
adults to not know the Paw Patrol dogs.
Yeah.
it's probably better.
Yeah, probably.
It's probably
yeah.
better than a load of people in their late 20s with no children not knowing who or what children shows up. It's probably a good thing.
I've heard good things about Bluey, though.
No, but seriously, what the fuck is up with this?
Yeah.
Why
Uh,
were you watching this?
Yeah, but blame my mum. As I said last time, it's her fault.
She gave you the nightmare story.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
more the fact
she
that
mu-
she just... I'm sure, like, they vetted, like, the first 2 or 3 and were like, well, these are fine. And then just gave me all of them in one go. So I
Yeah,
probably
they're
listened
never
to this...
there to listen.
Yeah, I probably listened to this the first time on my own and just, wet the bed or whatever.
It's like, please turn to side 2, and you're like, I don't want to!
But my
But I want to
curiosity
make
is
sure
taking me.
he's safe.
And it's not like... And I remember talking to Mum about these, like, later. Because obviously, this came up once or twice in my childhood. Like, the Brave Tin Soldier's really sad. She'd be like, yeah, it is. And it's like, she left it in the box. I had, like, filtered access to it at all times. And I did go back and listen to it.
You're
At
like,
least a couple of times.
I'm feeling little bit off tonight. Let's bring myself down a bit.
Yeah, like,
Feeling
when
a
you
bit
listen to
too
sad
happy.
songs so you can have a little cry. I just
Catharsis.
re-traumatise myself.
Mother, I wish
what
to
is-
listen to the one about the toy man dying in the fire again.
The story, like the idea that you just said that, like, you have to halfway through you stop listening because in case it gets worse. They've all ended on like a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And so they're designed to be like the kid must listen on to see if it ends well because we've left it at the worst possible point.
So
I
upsetting.
hate these. Why are you making us listen to them?
I think we should do The Little Mermaid next.
Is it evil?
Oh, you'll
Does-
neff guess
does
what happens
someone
to The
get-
Little Mermaid.
Does she get cooked? Does she eat a toy soldier, a little tin man? They get picked up by a posh family and cut open.
Yeah,
You're
there you
not
go.
far off.
Is
The
it
cro- the
cannibalism
ultimate
if it's a
crossover.
mermaid?
No,
Only
different
half.
Species.
Oh.
No, different species.
Depends what bit you eat, yeah.
Are all of these set in the same universe?
I like to think so.
Are there crossovers? The saddest crossover in history.
I think
Yeah.
merged the plot of this with The Little Match Girl in my head as a kid, where I'd be like, yeah, she was really sad, and then she got thrown in an oven.
They put her in an oven. They put her in an oven to heat her up.
She was
Well,
really
I used to
sad,
tell-
and then she went into a rich person's garden and found a tin soldier.
Do you guys want a really scary / sad image of me as a child?
Sure.
I used to retell these stories to my China dolls, like have them sat all around me.
Oh,
It's like a little classroom.
Were they not allowed to listen along to the tape?
Well, I'd listen to them at night, but then when I was playing during the day, I'd read I had the book, so I'd read the book to my class as a teacher.
That's utterly
That
horrifying.
is
Yeah.
awful.
That is utterly. If I like your parents coming past being like, that child is, we need to take those tapes off.
They didn't. They let me have them forever.
That's so.
My parents
scary.
still have these tapes.
If my child was doing that and like get no one listening to these tapes at night and then reading them to their army of China dolls the next day, I'd be like, either all of the dolls are going or the tapes are going.
I thought you were going to say all the child's going.
No, the
Yeah.
child's gone.
Get rid of Helena.
Just-
It's fine.
Immediately.
I never
up for
deliberately collected
adoption.
China dolls. I just want to re-establish that. Like,
No, I know. but
they were
the fact
just
that you
someone
would
gave
line
me
them up,
one, and then someone gave me another one, and then suddenly, oh, I collect China dolls now, I guess.
the
But also,
fact
how
that
do you throw
lined
them
up,
away? Like,
aggressively.
Yeah.
oh.
Well, no,
With
I think
force.
technically
But
you
I think
have to
that's-
take them to a priest first.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what my biggest fear isn't so much having the China dolls, it's disposing of the China dolls and then going back to my parents' house and finding them all in the cupboard again.
That's true.
Yeah,
you
that
either
would be
need to,
pretty
well, I
bad.
mean, like, yeah.
Well,
Like
You have to kind of keep them
Babadook,
just to know
book
where they
style.
are.
the reason that they come back is because they happened to go in a fish,
Hmm.
which your parents happened to buy at market. And then
No, they
open
come.
it
They come
up.
back because they only listened to side one, and they're desperate to find out what happens to the other side of on the other side of the tape.
I think to get
Please,
rid of those
Helena,
dolls
we
properly,
wish
you
to
either need
know
to take them to a priest
What happens to the Tin Man?
or a witch.
Well, thank you again for
These are
indulging
fun.
me,
You're not welcome.
No, these are fun.
and thank you to our Patreon supporters.
Yeah,
These are on YouTube. We'll put the link to these in the show notes.
you can have nightmares too.
Yeah. And the illustrations in this one were pretty scary. Some of them are
Yeah, they
beautiful.
really are.
Some of them are really pretty. Like when he's just on the boat and there's like the water all around him and a leaf and a butterfly. It's like, oh, this is quite nice. He's on a little adventure. And then it's like, then he got eaten by a fish.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that, I've been Helena.
Yeah. I've been Michael.
I've been Dan, and we're all gonna have nightmares now.